All right, the previous one of these I talked about, we were multiplying binomials. We're doing assignment 20, multiplying binomials. And we talked about multiplying binomials, in other words, terms that have two parts to them. And we're timesing them. I can tell we're timesing because there's nothing in between here. So this would be negative 2x plus 10 times x plus 1. And there's nothing to that. We're just going to keep track of all the things that I multiply using a method. And there's many methods. There's a FOIL method. I could just straight out distribute, but we use the box method. And the next two examples seem a little bit confusing. They don't seem to fit the pattern. This one is negative 6x plus 4 squared. And that means that this is multiplying itself. So all you have to do is recognize what that means. It means that I have an entire binomial, negative 6x plus 4, multiplying itself another squared. So it's timesing another negative 6x plus 4. So no big deal. In fact, these are actually a little bit easier. So the top binomial was negative 6x and plus 4, and then the side binomial was also negative 6x and plus 4. And the coefficients multiply. If I wanted to write it out, I could say negative 6x times negative 6x. But I'm just going to go ahead and multiply inside here. So the two coefficients, 6 times 6, make 36. And then there's 1x on the side and 1x on the top to make a total of 2. And now positive 4 times negative 6 is negative 24. And there's only a single x coming from the side, not one from up here. So that's just 1x. And then, again, negative 6 times positive 4 is negative 24. And then 4 on the top. 4 on the top times 4 on the side is 16. And it just works out. It doesn't have to work out this way, but most of the time it does work out that your like terms are on the diagonal. So before I move on, I'm going to go ahead and add those together. Negative 24 x's from here, and then negative 24 more x's from here make a grand total of 48 negative x's. So I hardly have any room, but I can write my final trinomial. There's 1, 2, 3 terms to it. 36x squared minus 48x plus the number 16. And I can't add those together because they're all different rank. This is rank 2, rank 1, rank 0, x to the 0. So none of those have the same exponent on the x. So I'm done. I'm left with, I use the word trinomial. I haven't defined it yet. It's a polynomial that has 3 parts to it, just like this one has 1, 2, 3 terms. All right, pause here if you're following your notes. Is there anybody following their notes in here? All right, so hopefully I can start going a little bit faster on these. I draw a square to keep things organized. This square, they're not always going to be 2 binomials. So it's not always going to be 2 by 2, but for now it is. And this is negative 10 x and negative 4 multiplying itself. The same thing on both sides. Incidentally, sooner or later, they will ask you, like a problem will ask you to find the area. And when it's asking you to do that, it's asking you to multiply the 2 binomials. Hopefully we'll have a, they're just asking you to recognize that area means multiply the length times the width. 10 times 10 is 100. X to the second. Of course, it's positive because the negative and the negative. Negative and negative make positive. 4 times 10 is 40. And there's only one x. It's coming from the side. And then same thing here. 40x. And then negative 4 times negative 4 is plus 16, just like it was last time, I guess. Okay, I wanted to make some room down here to write my final answer after I add the 2 like terms that live on the diagonal. 40 and 40 make 80 x's. So that's a grand total of 100 x squares, 80 x's, and plus the number 16. And pause here if you're following along. If you talk to math teachers, a lot of math teachers will tell you that this is one of their favorite subjects. And I think the reason why is because it's just so programmed. Like there's just nothing to it. There's something satisfying about doing something the same way over and over. So set things up so that you have room for a binomial on top and a binomial on the side. The first binomial I always put on the top, and the second binomial I always put on the side. And then this one, x and minus 1, as well as 3x and minus 4. Just a sec. I'm going to do them 2 at a time now to kind of speed things up. Again, just some, if you want to put a 1 here, you can, so that you can see that it's 3 times 1. Also, if you wanted to put a 1 for the exponents, so that you could see that it was 1 plus 1, a total of 2 x's. In any event, the coefficients 3 times 1 make 3, and there's an x on the side and an x on the top make a total of 2 x's, or x squared. That comes from, again, 3x times 1x, and then I can change the order to 3 times 1 times x, which is just 3x squared. So I actually went really quickly there through some of the rules of exponents, which is why you need to struggle with this stuff so that it makes it look as easy as it is. Negative 1 times positive 3 is negative 3x. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4, and there's an x from up here. And negative 4 times negative 1 is positive 4. And then 6 times 7 is 42, I believe. X to the second power, because there's 1 coming from here and 1 coming from there, minus 6x plus, minus because there's a negative here, minus 70x and minus 10. The like terms here are negative 4 and negative 3 to make negative 7x. And negative 70 and negative 6 to make negative 76x, because these are both minuses. So my grand total for the first one, red sounds like a good color, 3x squares, negative 7x's, and plus 4. And then for the second one, negative 42x squares, negative 76, x squares, negative 76 x's, and minus the number 10. And these are the last 2 that I wanted to do for you. And I got a binomial here and a binomial here. And then on the other side I've got a binomial and a binomial. On the top, negative 8x and positive 9. On the side, negative x and minus 5. On the top, 5x and plus 10. And on the side, negative x and plus 3. And then a lot of people like it when I put a 1 in front, so that when they're multiplying, they know that it's 1 times 8. And so I'm going to do backwards. Why not? Negative 5 times 9 is negative 45. And then 9 times negative 1 is negative 9. And there's an x that comes from the side. 8 times 5 is 40. And there's an x that comes from the top. And negative times a negative is a positive 8x, and there's an x here and an x here for a total of 2. And then 5 times negative 1 is negative 5, x to the second. 10 times negative x is negative 10x. 5 times 3 is 15x, and 3 times 10 is 30. And then the like terms, 40 minus 9 and 15 minus 10. So last time they were both negatives, so they added together became more negative, but this time they're opposites. So 40 minus 9 makes 31, and 15 minus 10 makes 5. And that's because in the structure of, I'm going to have to put it down here, makes 5. In the structure of the equation, the reason for that is that this, when you multiplied to make 9x, was negative, whereas this, the outside terms, the 5 times the 8, became positive. And those were opposites, 40 and 9, to make 31. All right, so the grand total for this one, purple, 8x to the second power, 31x's comes from these two terms, 31x's and minus 45. And then for this one, negative 5x squared from here. From 15x minus 10x, I get 5x, and then the last term is 30. And I think, did I do them all, or did I leave? I'm hoping to leave some. Yeah, I left 2 problems. Please try to do the other 2 problems on your own. I will give you the answers, and please push pause here, try to do the last 2, and then use the video to tell if you're doing things correctly or not. So the answers for these 2, I'm hoping I don't mess something up here. 4 and 8 make 32. X squares is the leading term, and then 10 and minus 10 make negative 100. And then these 2 terms make negative 80, while these other 2 terms make positive 40. So that's minus 40x in total. And then this one, 9 times 8 makes 72. Yeah, I'm not using the box method, and that's for a reason. I want you to use the box method, and then this is just the answer to double check. And then this is -8 from these two, and -63 from the others, to make a net total of -71 x's plus 7. And that's it. Please attempt assignment number 20.